It's time to get rocked. RockStock Canada. Hey, 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 everybody in RockStock Wonderland. Okay, well, it's my make-believe place anyway. That's what I like to think I'm at. Hi, guys. I am Deb Munro. I don't think I've ever really introduced myself on any of these interviews, so I probably should at this point. I'm actually Deb Munro-Nordeen, and I am also a band member. We've got lots of band members that are attending RockStock and really helping us really do a lot to put RockStock together, including one that I have right now, which is one of our feature headliners. This is Steve Attwood from the band Hell and Back, doing a great, amazing, one of the best tributes, Canadian tributes to AC/DC. Welcome, Steve Attwood.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well,
I
it's our pleasure to
appreciate
have
it.
you. Thank you. I'm so
Hello to
glad.
all the little rockers and rollers out there in Rockstock land.
Actually, it's funny because I do podcasts and I do a lot of, I teach voice acting. So I dress differently for my podcast because they all think of me like a mom in my voice acting world. I'm like the mom, and then I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm the rocker chick in this role. I got to go back to my roots and be a rocker chick in this one. Anyway, so I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you guys so much. And we're so thrilled to have you guys as our headliner for Friday night, guys. You guys are in for a real treat. AC/DC, it never gets old. It never gets better. And it always gets everybody on their feet. That must be a really cool tribute to pay homage to with that kind of track record.
It is. It's awesome. It's everyone seems to love AC/DC. The demographic is massive. I see kids from 3 years old up to seniors in their 80s and 90s rocking and rolling with us and having a great time. So we really enjoy doing it.
That's the one thing. So we do a lot of covers in our band, as you personally know. But when we do AC/DC songs, it's just always a safe recipe. Like it's just always going to be people getting up. It just is that. So I think you guys just chose such a great band. But not only did you guys choose a great band for the purpose of, like for me anyway, audience engagement is everything. And I just think it's such an engaging band. One of the things I think about AC/DC, I should say this, I might get shot for this in some ways, but one of the things about AC/DC I've always said is this. I love AC/DC, so nothing changes that. It's the one band, though, if I was stuck on an island, I don't think I would want to have one single AC/DC album to play over and over for the rest of my life, just because here's the thing I think about AC/DC, which I think is a good analogy. I think AC/DC is one of the most brilliant bands in the world. I actually do. And the reason I say that is because now that I understand musicianship a bit better, I understand they have their own tuning, number one. So they have their own little recipe that they do. I feel like they play a very similar thing over and over, yet it's always different. And like you just said, it's so key from grandmas to kids. They love it, no matter, even if they don't like heavy music. For some reason, it's that one band that just has this, I think, a magical recipe that just works over and over, where some bands have a lot more variety, for example, in that you don't know everything they're doing, where AC/DC has like I say, a steady recipe. Was that hard to get into, like tuning and stuff? Did you have to deal with tuning for that?
Well, it's they found a recipe and they stuck with it, right? So that's what worked for them. That's why someone once asked Angus Young, "What does it feel like to have 11 albums that all sound the same?" And his reply was, "Actually, we have 12." So they like I say, they found the recipe, they found what worked, and they kept going with
Yeah.
it. And we try and keep the proper format on stage. We like there's a certain recipe on stage as well, to the point where there's certain things that certain people can do on stage and certain things that people can't do. From the backline characters have to be in their character and step up to the mic and sing and then step back. We try and emulate as much as we can, right down to Angus doesn't talk, down to
Right.
there's no drum solos with AC/DC.
Wow.
There's a lot of little things that people don't think about, and we try and incorporate it as much as we can to be as close as we can to the real thing. So
Now, I mean, I think it's just obvious for the entire audience if they don't know already, you play Angus Young, and obviously that means you do lead guitar, so you are the bomb. In fact, you really become, again, here goes another unique thing for a band. Here we have the lead guitarist being the entity for the band, even more than the vocalist. Not just because they went through the trauma of losing their original singer, but because they replaced him beautifully. However, it seems to be that, Angus is the focus a lot of that band. And so it does become a big mascot, right?
Yeah, it's different. I've been in a lot of other bands where I'm off to the side playing, and the singer is the main focal point of attention. With AC/DC, obviously, I am up front, and I'm purposely trying to steal the show every time I'm on
Yeah,
stage. That's
yeah,
the whole point of Angus Young. But I really think that Angus and Brian kind of have a chemistry that, there was a lot of other bands that had the same thing, you know. You just associate like Axl and Slash,
that's
or
true. Very true. Very true.
David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. Those were the guys that were up front
Yeah.
doing it together. And when we do it, we kind of myself and James Alcock, the lead singer, we're running around constant, and we kind of know what each other are going to do all the time.
Yeah.
So
So it's not an overstep. It's actually a compliment to each other.
yeah, yeah, we definitely try and complement each other. And it shows when we
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
you can
And
tell.
James works really hard to emulate the originality of the artist as well. It's a really nice thing, I think, especially because we have all different types of tribute bands out there, and I respect any and every one of them because we're playing live music, and we should keep doing that, and we should keep honoring and respecting all of these artists that gave us this music to bring back to life. But I also think that there's a lot of tribute bands that don't necessarily dress the part, and some are really proud of that. They don't want to dress the part, and then some do, and it's to each everybody's own. But you want to have that AC/DC experience, and that's the one thing you really get at a Hell and Back show is you really do feel like you're being transported back into exactly what those guys represent. One of the things I really love as well about your band, and we just went and saw Sebastian Bach, as you know, and when we did, what I loved about what he did was even though this is detrimental in some ways to people our age and up in musicianship, but he had his son play drums for him, everybody's dream, I'm sure. And then the two guitarists and bassists were both his son's age. But what I loved about it, and the reason I'm bringing it up, is because the son's friends both looked like the guys from the 80s. So for me, as an 80s girl, I just felt like I was in a flashback and there's Randy Rhoads and I'm just, yeah, look at that, baby, bring it on. And the reason that excites me is because I saw for the first time since I've moved to Ontario what I think are the 80s looking girl generation. And guys like that and bands like that can bring in some youth, that can really help to bring our music into the youth even more. And I understand they actually have determined their name for themselves as metalheads. So we have this new generation of youth that are called metalheads that know all the words to our songs. It's so incredible. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So anyway, back to you. What I love as well about your band is you have a very young Malcolm. Talk to me about our
Yes.
Malcolm.
Sebastian Burnside. So he started going to the Rockpile Jams when he was 12. Just knocking the hell out of Iron Maiden, just a
Unreal.
one. So James, our singer, started actually an Iron Maiden tribute with him, and he's not a rhythm player. He's playing all the solos.
Right, that's true.
He's
Sorry.
played in an Avenged Sevenfold
Yeah, of
tribute
course.
where he's doing all the solos. That's some serious guitar
Hmm.
stuff that's going on there, right? So
And that's it's because he's very young when he joined your band, and we'll get to that here in a second as well. But it's very fascinating because Malcolm, I just want to make sure I'm right. Malcolm is a rhythm player pretty much strictly, right, for AC/DC. So here we have this younger guy who has this wonderful opportunity to be playing massive gigs at a very young age. And so I'm sure that becomes a good trade-off if he's not doing a lot of solos right now, even though I'm sure he's amazing to be watching.
well, he's, in my humble opinion, I think he's easily two or three times the guitar player that I am. But
Oh,
he gets to sit back and do the Malcolm thing and play on the big festival stages, and he's just loving it. He's loving it.
beautiful.
He started with us when he was 18, just before he turned 19, and now he's 19 going on 20. So,
Amazing.
and he's got the 80s look as well.
He does. I love it.
He's got the long blonde hair down to
He's
his belt,
hot, ladies. He's hot.
and he doesn't mind flaring it around. And he does the old Sebastian Bach flip with his hair and stuff. So he definitely has a good time with it.
He's got the look. It really does add. Again, I think it just helps so that we can start working hard to increase our audience to the youth because I think at the youth it's important that they carry our torch and that they carry this music on. And I think it's making a bit of a comeback again, even though I don't think it's ever gone away, especially AC/DC. I mean, that's a whole other league of its own as far as 80s metal goes and 80s rock goes. But I also know you were in a really cool 80s tribute band. What was the band called that you did that you guys
It was
did
actually called Metalhead.
Metalhead?
And we did a tribute to 10 different bands in one night. So we did Ozzy and Quiet Riot and Alice Cooper and Twisted Sister and Iron Maiden. And we did a mini tribute to each one of the bands. And we incorporated so much stuff that it just became a lot of work, a lot of work.
Wow.
We had a truckload of stuff we carried around with us. We would hang Alice Cooper. Ozzy would come out of a coffin. When we did Judas Priest, we actually rode a mini chopper on stage.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so we had an awful lot of fun with it, but it was kind of before its time.
Yeah.
Like everything comes back around, and
Yeah.
we had that idea. This was going back probably 12 or 15 years now. So we had that idea 10 years prior to that, and we had a really good run. We did the A circuit all throughout Ontario for about 10 years.
Amazing.
We couldn't really, we wanted to make it strike more in the casino market and festivals and whatnot, but it hadn't yet come around.
Still
Now
edgy back then,
now
right?
it's kind of come around, and
Mhm.
there's other bands doing that, and I kind of shake my head and say,
Yeah.
we were before our time. But AC/DC is timeless.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 100%. And
you
honestly, um, I guess timeless is that right word, but it's also, again, I can't stress it enough. There's a lot of rock bands that my mom would absolutely hate, but she would be okay with AC/DC. Like it just is one of
yeah.
those bands, you know? It's
Like
incredible.
just for instance, we just did a gig last weekend, and there was a lady. Every time we played there, there's a lady. She has to be late 80s, early 90s minimum. She walks with a walker. She wears her Hellenbach shirt
Oh my God, I
with
love it.
a
I
sequin
want to do
jacket over top. She lives by herself. She takes a cab to the gig, and she's been at every single one of the shows we've done at that venue, and she just loves it. She
wow.
sits by herself at a table, and she's just
Beautiful.
going, she just
Yeah.
loves it, and she's singing along to the songs. She knows the songs. So it's
And, and I
really
want
impressive how sometimes you can strike a chord with such a wide demographic.
such a wide demographic. And I think one of the only bands like that. I really do. I just think it's just singularly like I think it becomes a comparison to how people view the Beatles. I'm not just saying instrumentationally, I just mean how people in general, the public, not just musicians, view the Beatles. And it's the same thing for AC/DC in the rock genre, a little more heavy rock genre, obviously, than the Beatles was a rock genre as well. But it's just got that thing where it affects everybody. And every radio station plays it and doesn't stop. They're just brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant, and I think it's brilliant that you guys are doing it. Why don't we talk about where it all started? How did Hell and Back start for you guys?
So Helen Back actually started, I believe, back in 2015. James
Oh,
started it under the name Night Prowler. And
oh,
they eventually changed it to Hell and Back, and they went through various lineup changes. And James came up as a suggested friend on my Facebook. And at the time, now the band that I had previously, Metalhead, we also did AC/DC. So my profile picture was me in a pair of shorts, shirtless, playing a red SG, laying on my back, soaked in sweat with my legs up in the air, So he came up as a
Looking like
suggested
Angus Young.
friend. Yeah, so I added him as a friend, and I'll never forget the first message. He messaged me and he said, "Dude, do you do Angus?" And I kind of just went from there. We
That's
got
awesome.
talking, and he wanted to try and revive the metalhead thing, which wasn't really in the cards for me. It was an awful lot of work.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
and the ACDC, when I did Metalhead, ACDC was one of my top characters that I did. It was one of the most uh, comfortable that I
Yeah,
felt
it
doing.
just felt
It was,
easy to
it
do.
was totally in my wheelhouse,
Yeah,
totally in
it really is.
my
Let's
wheelhouse.
actually talk about that character for a minute because I think a lot of people don't understand and wouldn't understand unless they've experienced it. That to actually be able to pull off this character, number one, I know you have to focus really hard to make sure that you're in that whatever it is that he does with his
The
groove
zone.
and his knee in the
Um,
zone. And
yeah.
like, listen, I'm from radio. So back in radio days, the students always tried to screw you up on air. That's just what we do. And so I remember our first gig together. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get his attention. I'm like, wow, he's focused. Holy shit. So let's talk about what that must be like because that it's got to be hard on the knees too. Like it's a repetitive thing.
At the very first show I ever did with Helen Back, I didn't stretch prior to,
Okay.
and it was a Sunday afternoon gig, and I wasn't able to bend down and pick anything up at work until probably Thursday.
It's like doing 5,000 step ups, knee
It
step
was
ups.
so bad, and now I stretch out before every show, and
Okay.
I do some jumping exercises and whatnot, and I get limbered up and loosened up. But
Yes.
I find with other bands back in the day, we used to drink and partake in whatever.
Hurts.
It was the time back then, and a lot of time. And you were playing the bar scene, so everyone was drinking and having fun too. Now we're more in the festival scene, and that's kind of gone by the wayside. So we don't drink or partake when we play, and I just try and concentrate on
Yeah.
the character and what I'm doing. And like you said, it's a zone. When
It's a
I come
zone.
out, like I get a little bit nervous backstage because I'm kind of thinking of all the stuff that I have to do. But as soon as I come out, we hit the first chord,
Just in.
something clicks inside, and I just go into that zone. And it's hard for anyone to, my wife laughs at me because there's pretty girls in the front, and I'm not even looking. I
I
don't
don't
even
see
notice.
them. Well, and I think this is so I am an actor for a living. That's what I do for a living. And really, when you are doing a theatrical show such as a tribute, especially when you're matching costume, matching movements, things like that, it becomes a theatrical tribute. And in a theatrical tribute, there is a lot of work. Obviously, there's a lot of I don't want to say the word wrong. A lot of little things, a lot of fine-tuned things that there are to see and manipulate for your body to be able to bring in. And so what happens when us as actors, so when I'm in my voice studio and I'm doing animation and I'm in a character, I actually don't see the microphone. I don't see this studio. I don't see these fake walls. What I actually see maybe is trees that I'm swinging through and being a chipmunk and running up the walnut tree. And, you see this imaginary world. And I'm not saying for you it's an imaginary world, but it kind of is in a sense because you're
It's a
imagining you're Angus, right? For that moment.
it's a formula, right?
Yeah.
So I studied the character, and there's a formula to his moves for
Yeah.
what he does. So
Big
he's
time.
left foot, left knee, 1, 2, right knee, 3, 4. Lean forward a little on 1, 2, lean back a little on 3, 4, and keep the head going. So it's one,
Yeah,
two,
right.
four, 1, 2, and you got to keep that up. But that's the formula, and everyone in the band has their little formula.
Yeah.
The
Of course.
backline, we mentioned Sebastian. We also have Terry Bug. He's a
Yes, of course. Sorry, Terry. I
fabulous bass player.
not to omit
But they have
Terry.
their formula where they step back and they just have the one leg going, which, you study
Yeah.
the character, you watch them live, see
Yeah.
what they do, and that's what we're trying to emulate. So when
Yeah.
they sing, they step up and they sing and they step back. And then James has his formula where he's studied his character, and there's little moves that Brian or Bon do, and he tries to emulate those. But for me, I'm just kind of all out.
In the zone.
Just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you have to do. It's that love of music. So why don't you tell me a little bit about, were you that kid as well? I try to ask, especially a lot of the guitarists, because I think a lot of the guitarists and still the drummers equally were those kids that locked themselves up in the room when they were young and just, let go on your instrument, or are you someone who kind of got into it later on? What was your experience into music for you?
Well, it started off for me on my neighbor's coffee table, um, playing the tennis racket to Kiss Alive. That was my first real introduction to rock
Oh my
music.
God, that's awesome. I
Kiss
love
Alive
it.
was the first album that I ever bought, the original one. And then music was in my family, so my uncle and my brother played guitar, so
Nice.
I started learning to play guitar. But I wasn't one of those. Some people it comes super easy.
Yeah,
Um, some people can be playing for 6 months, and I go, "Wow, you've only been playing for 6 months." Where
that's true.
I have to work at stuff,
Yeah,
and if I don't play something for a long time, I forget it.
yeah,
I can learn it again very quickly.
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely
It's always a passion.
you have to push at it to keep it going and keep it going. But no, I didn't necessarily lock myself in a room. I guess what kind of pushed me to be a better player was when I joined my first band,
Yeah,
and that was an original band actually. We put out a CD and everything, and we spent a lot of time rehearsing. So
yeah.
that time rehearsing, we were doing the songs repetitively over and over and over, so I could try this solo and try that solo and try a different solo, and
Hmm.
try and work out my own technique, and
Find
it all
yourself
kind
in
of
music.
leached back to the bands that I was brought up on, which was like Black Sabbath and Ozzy and AC/DC and bands like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, those great influences that we love. Absolutely. Now, as Uh, you talked about the word repetitive for a minute. Let's kind of talk about that because, as I alluded to earlier, I want to make sure I finish my thought so I don't make it hanging like I think AC/DC is a terrible band to be stuck on an island with. But the reason I say that is because of the repetition of the songs. I feel that a lot of them have a similarity, even though they're not. That's what I find is such a brilliant recipe about it. And every one of them is danceable, which is brilliant, gentlemen, when you're a guy's band. I mean, they're a guy's band, but yet us girls love to dance to it. That's what is so extremely brilliant as well about them. Do you find as a tribute band, never mind it just being AC/DC, but maybe having that on top of it, do you get tired of doing the same songs a lot or the same artist a lot? Do you see it staying here for a long time? Do you hope to grow into other bands? Or are you really comfortable where this is now and seeing where that goes?
I'm totally comfortable where it is right now.
Nice.
The thing about AC/DC is um, a lot of other bands will have 3 or 4 hits and then some fillers,
Yeah, that's a
maybe a
good
song or
point.
two you could do for an encore. That's for
Then the
majority of
B-sides.
a lot of bands. AC/DC, like there's just so many hits.
Doesn't stop.
There's so many bangers,
It's so crazy.
and just about every song on our list, you can sing along to it, or at least you know the song. And there's so many hits,
It's
it
true.
just keeps going and going and going, and
I know it's
you
crazy.
know,
And another testament to that, I think it would be important for us to talk about how there are a lot of AC/DC tributes out there. There are a lot. I'm
there is.
surprised there's that many vocalists that can sing that stuff, to be honest. But there is a lot.
Especially in Southern Ontario.
Yeah. Oh, is it even more so here
Oh,
than
if you
elsewhere?
drew a circle for 150 kilometers from Toronto around a radius, there's probably more AC/DC tributes in that circle than there is for the whole rest of Canada.
It's crazy. And yet, all working. And I think that's the point I want to
Yeah,
make the most is these
that's
are working bands, even though there's so many. I know when we talked about doing a tribute, our guitarist is like, no, that's been done. No, that's been done. It's like very hard to find a band that's not been done that has hits. But I think you nailed it very well. And as I just alluded to just there is that finding that band that has lots of hits that you can keep that audience engaged for 90 minutes to 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours time, that's not an easy thing to find. I tried to look at that as a girl band. What girl band has lots and lots of hits, especially more to the rock genre? there's lots that have good hits, like, Pat Benatar and Joan Jett. They have good hits, but not lots and lots. I mean, you guys have just such a great band to emulate in that
That's
regard,
what's so easy about doing
I
the
guess.
AC/DC tribute is it's one after another. There's not really any filler, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's
and
true.
90% of the songs people are singing along to.
Yeah.
You know, we
It's a,
get dancing, and if even if we hit a song that might not be as familiar for someone, they're still enthralled by the show and the energy and the
that's
you know
right.
what we're
Performance.
trying to put across. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it definitely shows. I think a Hellenbach show, guys, for everybody is a must, whether you see it at RockStock Canada or you go see them on their lovely tours that they have and all the shows that they play. Where can they go to find out your next gigs?
HellenbachACDC.com is the website, or you can look us up on Facebook.
Awesome.
Search Hellenbach ACDC, and we should pop up. We're on YouTube as well. We're on Instagram. Sebastian looks after the Instagram because I'm the old Facebook guy. He's the young Instagram guy. So
Now, aren't you an influencer? Didn't I catch something about you being an actual
yeah, I'm
influencer?
not sure exactly how that happened, but yeah, I became a digital influencer on Facebook. So. Like I said, not sure how it happened, but whatever, I'll go with it.
I love that. I love that, especially when you're like us and you're like, okay, I'll have the young ones do the Instagram. It's so funny. I know my husband just goes, I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's really actually very easy. So I don't know why we don't get into it, but for some reason we just stay on our Facebook. It's comfortable.
I get
Oh,
messed up with my phone all the time, and I'll hand it to my 20-year-old and say, "Here, fix this."
exactly. Here, here. Now, if you had to give advice to young, enthusiastic artists up and coming that want to join a band and, really get into this whole world of musicianship, what would you advise them?
Uh, Practice is probably the biggest thing. When I was younger, learning how to play guitar, I kind of came across the mindset of practice, practice, practice. And I know it's kind of an old saying, but it's true. The more you practice, the better you get, the faster you'll get better. If you don't practice, you're not going to get better very much faster. So if you want to be a really good band, practice a lot on your own and rehearse a lot with your band. And the more you rehearse, the better you're going to sound when you go and play live, you know.
Exactly.
It's going to show. And if you don't rehearse and you don't practice, that's going to show too.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
you
And
know,
those of you that are not in bands who just, practice and take risks. Take risks to fail miserably. That's the place to do it is in practice and in your basements and things like that. But there's a lot of sites out there like Bandmix and stuff like that of other artists looking for other artists. Go to open jams. There's lots of great ways for everybody to kind of dabble in and find each other. I think one of the things that we've definitely learned, and I think where we moved here from Vancouver. I'm actually from Alberta, but we moved here from Vancouver. My husband's from Vancouver, and it's a big music center out there as well. But for me growing up in Alberta, it was a good music center, it just wasn't a big music center. Out here in Ontario, the music family here is just incredible. The support from everyone. And, Steve, you really are. I would love to take this moment to just tell you, you are just such a giving musician. You really care about the other artists. You actually come and watch shows. You support other musicians.
all the time.
You
That's part of
know,
the game. It's part of the
I think
game.
so too, and I don't think everybody does it. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us musicians for your support and love of music and for what you do and what you give to the industry. And the rest of us always need to be there to support each other because we've got to keep this boat alive as long as we can. And so you're just one of those stand-up musicians that are really someone to watch, guys. And this band is fantastic. They do a great job of bringing AC/DC to you. In fact, I've got to admit to you, I told Aero Force the same thing. You have no idea how hard it was to choose between, I mean, who headlines? Does AC/DC headline? Or does Aerosmith headline? I mean, who headlines? They're both brilliant
You know
headlines,
what?
right?
I have to say, we are totally honored to be part of Rockstock Canada. The lineup of bands that you have is absolutely phenomenal. Even though we're with other tributes on the Friday, we're headlining the Friday. there's probably two or three of the bands that could have headlined. So thank you very much for choosing us as a headliner. But we're honored to be playing with the other bands, and we recognize their caliber as well. So
Thank you so much, Steve. That's really sweet of you guys as well. Yeah, it was, I just think, do I want to close off a night with Aerosmith or do I want to be kicking ass in AC/DC world? Because Aerosmith can be very transient and, it's very feminine as well. It's got that feminine side to it of lots of dancing, which is great. But then when we get to the end of the night, I'm hoping you guys will all, I know you will, I'm hoping we'll all go around and do a bit of an acoustic jam and, still hang out afterwards. And I think AC/DC is the perfect band to pump us up, to keep partying for a little later until I fall.
we're definitely gonna kick it off or we're gonna end it off with a bang. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Air Force.
They're so
I've
good.
never seen them before. I love Aerosmith, and from what I've heard, they get rave reviews, and they're a fabulous tribute. So, like I said, all the bands that you guys have picked just seem fabulous. Even on the Saturday and the Sunday, it's going to be a hell of a weekend. So
Great lineup.
we're really proud to be part of it.
Thank you so much, so much. And thank you for giving your time to us. We can't wait to have you on that stage. Make sure you guys come out Friday, August 14th for Hell and Back. And they'll be on the stage by 10 p.m.-ish. We might move them a little later because I know they'll be generous with me. And see if we can get actual breaks for people because I've created a ridiculously stupid schedule. So we'll have a lot of fun. Make sure you guys come and support our beautiful headliner that you do not want to miss on Friday night. RockStockCanada.com. Go get your tickets. There's lots available still. And get your camping. Come and camp with us. We are going to have a great weekend. RockStockCanada.com. Until next time, everybody, thank you to Hell and Back.
August 14th, we're taking Rockstock Canada to hell and back. Yeah, baby.
Ow! Oh my God, I got lasers today. Until next time, everybody, we will be back with another interview. Keep tuning in to the RockStock channel on Facebook. Bye.
RockStock Canada. This summer, the nation's biggest rock celebration is here. August 14th to the 16th, with a full weekend of live music, camping, and the ultimate car and bike show. We're raising the volume and support for 3 incredible charities, with even more surprises dropping soon. Get your rock on.